Good morning, friends. So today, one of my longest standing clients told me she had to pause working with me. And the version of me from a few years ago would have spiraled, but I didn't. And that's when I realized I don't live in scarcity anymore, not the way I used to. And I want to talk about that today because scarcity isn't just about money. It's about what your nervous system believes is safe. Before we jump into all of the fun things we're going to talk about with scarcity and the nervous system, I want to welcome any of you that haven't been here before. We've been getting a lot of new listeners. So, welcome to the Sacred Momentum. My name is Aubrey Barr. I'm a subconscious release technique practitioner and a Reiki master. And I've had my own business for 20 years doing massage and also photography. I'm a creative and I love to provide this space for other entrepreneurs, for other women, for other people that have more than one passion. In this podcast, we combine what our limiting beliefs are, how to work through those, and how to move forward spiritually, physically, emotionally in our lives so we can get to a place of balance. Yes, it's so good to have you guys here with me today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I've had this client for over 2 years. I started working with her on a one-to-one capacity when she bought 4 sessions from me, doing subconscious work and breaking down limiting beliefs and being able to mentor her as she was transitioning out of a work environment that was prohibiting her from growing and finally be able to let that go and start working on her own business in a totally different category. And yes, she may even listen to this episode today. So I'm going to keep it a little short on the details of who she is. But suffice it to say, after she finished with that initial 4 pack of sessions with me, she said, you know what? I want to do this every month. And so I put her on this subscription plan. And, just to be completely transparent with you, I allow people to come and go as they please. I do not put a limit on it. As long as I can stop the payment for a pause or something like that, then I absolutely will. I do not charge people to give me a 30-day notice or anything like that. So she was on the subscription and like I said, she worked with me for over 2 years. So this wasn't a casual thing. This was a working relationship. We had gone quite far into her healing. She is in a completely different place right now. Every time she gets on the call, she's already happy. She's already fulfilled. You can tell that she is thinking differently. You can tell that her load is lighter. Emotionally, she's not harboring things that she used to harbor. So I had seen so much progress in her already. But when she told me today that she had to pause and she did not want to leave forever, but needed to take a little break for other reasons, things going on in her world, I kind of surprised myself. I so let me press rewind here for a second, okay? Like most of you that are listening, I grew up in a world where scarcity was the issue. It was the backbone of why my family worked as hard as they did. It was the reason why we didn't have a lot of things. It was oftentimes the reason why my parents had to say no. I, as a child, had to experience a lot of ups and downs with financial things and feeling stable. We were already a military household, so we moved, and that already doesn't feel super stable if you're especially a child that kind of has a lot of worry and a lot of anxiety. And so when my dad missed a promotion when I was 13, he lost his job with the military. So he had to do an early retirement. And at that point, we moved from Alaska to Utah to live with my grandma. My grandma was a widow when she raised 5 kids since her husband died when he was 33. So she was also a hard worker. And my dad became the man of the house very, very young. And so we moved in with her and things definitely shifted in the family dynamics. We went from, we never really had that much, but all of a sudden, I had to choose one outfit to start high school, right? I got to pick out one pair of jeans, one shirt, and one hoodie as my school clothes shopping for the year. So you can kind of understand where we were at financially. And I will say also that my parents do worry and they're very frugal. And so that was part of it as well. But growing up in that kind of environment as an adult, it's hard to push aside those scarcity feelings. Like we've learned a lot about the nervous system these days. We know that when you feel safe and you're open and you trust, a lot more things can come your way. You have less blocks around receiving money or receiving help. And that was definitely something that was ingrained generationally for us. And I hear it so many times from other people. And in fact, that was one thing that we talked about today with my client, as far as how she was raised with the same kind of mentality. I find that it is super, super common. So today, when she brought up with me that she would like to pause for a few months, I I honestly shocked myself with how calm and how accepting I was of that. And believe me, I'm not saying that I would say no or anything like that, but typically speaking, in that situation, you might feel your nervous system start freaking out. You may keep it on the inside. You may be able to, finish your conversation, but you might feel your heart beating faster. You might feel yourself getting hotter. All of these things would be my normal reaction. But I've done so much work around this, so much work over the last 42 years that I literally just accepted it so quickly and it was so peaceful. And I knew that she was making a decision that was not easy for her, definitely not easy for her, but also necessary. She had to make a choice for herself. And I commend her for that because it's not an easy decision, especially when you feel like this is a lifeline for you. This is something that helps you get through each month and helps you become a better person every month, which are things that she's shared with me in the past. But I could feel the moment where the old version of me could have taken over. That old Aubrey could have said, oh, wow, this is horrible. And not even been able to do the somatic work that we did in today's really powerful session. Like it could have derailed me in a way where I wasn't able to do for her what she is even paying me for. And I'm so, so grateful that that didn't happen, that I could still move on from that. We could still work on the things that she needed to work on today. So what if, let me ask you, you have your own business or you have an income that you are used to getting? What if more clients leave? What if someone has to step away? What does this mean about my life, right? That subtle panic is difficult for people, okay? But instead, I stayed grounded. And honestly, I felt so peaceful about it. The old Aubrey would have went into survival mode. I would have went straight to money equals safety, right? Every loss, oh no, this is a loss, so now this is a threat. Right? I could have overthought things. I could have been grasping. I could have tried to talk her into something, uh, but I didn't. The old me would have made this mean something about me. But guess what? It wasn't about me. Okay. Because the new me is regulated. I have a regulated nervous system now. It's something that I always work on, and it's something that I've been able to depend on. I have trust in God. I detach myself from the outcome. I have that faith. Okay. I have the ability to hold both loss and gratitude. And to that point, I have to tell you, it was so nice to get onto Stripe. I logged in. I told her, I'm like, I don't really remember how to cancel a subscription or pause it. So I don't really have to do it that often, but I'll let you know if there's something you have to do on your end or anything. I pulled it up and I saw I could just pause it. So I went ahead and paused it, and immediately I felt so grateful. I said, let me pull up how many months of subscription I had this client for, how many exchanges of energy I had with her. She paid me and I paid her back through the healing process, through the work that we did together. And I wanted to see what that looked like. And it was so much. I mean, if I'm being totally transparent, it was somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000. That's what I'll say. And after seeing that, I just stopped everything and I just said a prayer of gratitude because I'm so thankful that my job is fulfilling to the max, that somebody would want to spend that much time with me that values the work that I do to such an extent that she spent years in my space. And honestly, I just think back at the end of every single one of our sessions, how grounded she was and how seen she felt and how different her outlook on life has become. It's just this beautiful circle that it's in fact so beautiful that there's just no way for me to feel scarcity about, let's say, losing her as a client, even for the time being. And you guys may not know this. Maybe you're not an astrologer and maybe you've never seen my birth chart. But one thing that I have really learned about my own birth chart as I've gone through my astrology certification is I have so much in my second house. It's quite crazy, actually. So my second house is Libra, which is obviously a sign that wants to feel balance, right? Always looking for the balance. And the second house symbolizes not only your daily income, the money that you make day to day, but also it's your self-worth. It's your value. It's the things that you have that's valuable as well outside of yourself. So it's kind of materialistic in a way. But in my second house, I have three things that are a bit crazy. I have my moon, I have Saturn, and I have Pluto all conjunct in my second house. Okay. If you don't know what that means, let's just say it's a doozy. Okay. Saturn, mastery over time. So at some point, I will be making daily income that feels good to me. At some point, I will feel worthy of the things that I bring in, right? Now, I'd like to think that because I'm in my 40s, I'm pretty much there by now. But let me tell you, it has been a struggle throughout my life. Actually, I can see that second house in the upbringing that I had and the stuff that I mentioned earlier on the episode, because also Pluto is death and rebirth. So I'm constantly having to tie up loose ends around my value and my worth and reestablish myself. And people who know me well can look back and say, oh, yeah, I see you doing that all the time. It is a part of who I am. But we also have to combine the limiting beliefs we have here, the structure around frugality, the things that we thought were not given to us, were unfair because of income or money or things, right? And so with all of this, with my dad losing his job, with moving in with my grandma, starting high school, just feeling like I was missing out on anything and everything. Even through all of that, scarcity didn't ever start in my bank account, right? It started in my body. This is tied directly to feeling embarrassment, to comparing myself, feeling judged, feeling instability all the time, like that we don't have enough becoming part of my identity. When you grow up like that, money isn't just money, it's permission to feel safe. When you get it, you will feel safe, right? That's what your nervous system is saying. You will feel safe when you have this daily income. You have something that you can trust is always going to come. And because of the work that I do and my past, this is shown up in so many of my clients that it's impossible for this situation to happen today and me not mention it on my podcast, me not bring it to the front, because I know 90% of you that are listening relate to something about this scarcity mindset. And I just want to offer you a little different perspective, a little hope, if you will, that we can change those belief patterns. We can change the way our subconscious reverts back to that kind of negative outlook on life. We can change that. We can choose to change that. When all of this went down today, I paused and I said, I am grateful. I felt that exchange of energy. That's what money is anyway, right? It's an exchange of energy. When you offer me money for my service and then I give back to you, I want those two to be balanced. I want them to be in sync. And It felt so good to pause that, look at the value of it, and say, you know what? I've given back all that I have also received. What a beautiful place to be. And instead of fear, I feel gratitude. So I literally said a prayer and thanked God for every single dollar that had come through that relationship and for the impact we had on each other. And I know if she listens to this, she'll feel the same way. We have an equal exchange of money and transformation, time and energy. The nervous system feels complete, not lacking. There's no resentment. There's no grasping. There's no trying to make her stay. I don't feel aligned to that. It felt finished for now and not taken from me. What a beautiful experience that is for me to come full circle to not feeling like a victim of it, to just feeling the gratitude. I chose to be super transparent today because I want you guys to see this in your own life. Where's this shown up for you? Where may it show up for you in the future? Okay, where do you lose your grip on reality because you're feeling threatened? Because something is, quote, being taken from you, or we're holding on too tightly, or we have the fear, even the fear of losing some of the income. That is when we know our income is over identifying with our value, our worthiness as a person. Okay, that's when we're struggling to receive and release. Because scarcity isn't about how much you have, it's about how safe you feel with what comes and goes, because it does come and go. My other business owners know what I mean. If you can't let money leave peacefully, it will never feel safe when it arrives. 2 years ago or 4 years ago, this moment would have shaken me. Today, it anchored me. And that's how I know this work works. Not because everything stays, but because I'm okay when it doesn't. So if this is something you're navigating, scarcity, fear, holding on, I do this work with women every day. You don't have to stay in that loop. I can promise you, we can reprogram that part of your mind. You're not meant to grip your life. You're meant to trust it, to flow. And that is why I'm so proud of my client as well, because she is also flowing with what she needs to, and she's making decisions based off of that. Wherever you are in your life, my friend, whether you're leaning into scarcity or finally finding your trust in the flow of being supported, you're allowed to believe that it's safe for things to come and safe for them to go. This shift isn't in your bank account. It's in your nervous system. All right, my friend, I'll talk to you soon.